Here's an expanded version of the text, reaching approximately 10,000 characters. During the Australian leg of One Direction's mammoth global tour, Zayn Malik came to a life-changing realization, one that would ultimately lead him to walk away from fame. It was 2013, and at the time, Zayn was in a high-profile relationship with fellow pop star Perrie Edwards. Her band, Little Mix, was also touring, and both singers happened to be in Sydney at the same time. They had spent weeks apart due to their demanding schedules and were eager to see each other, hoping to carve out a rare moment of privacy in their hectic lives. However, such was the intensity of One Direction's global superstardom that Zayn, like his bandmates, found it nearly impossible to move freely without being mobbed by fans. Directioners, as the band's passionate supporters called themselves, were relentless in their pursuit of their idols. They followed Zayn, Harry Styles, Niall Horan, Tomlinson, and Liam Payne everywhere, turning every outing into a chaotic event. This overwhelming level of attention made even the simplest activities, like going on a date, feel like a mission impossible. Desperate to see Perrie, Zayn resorted to sneaking into her hotel through the laundry room, bypassing the front entrance, which was swarming with fans and paparazzi. For him, this was yet another stark reminder of how little control he had over his own life. While some artists thrive under the weight of extreme fame, for Zayn, this moment solidified something he had been feeling for a long time. He didn't want to live like this forever. This wasn't an isolated incident. Throughout One Direction's meteoric rise, the band members lived their lives under constant surveillance. Their late teens and early 20s were spent as virtual prisoners in their own hotel rooms, unable to step outside without causing a frenzy. Fans would camp outside their accommodations for days, screaming their names and hoping to catch even a fleeting glimpse of them. Security teams had to be deployed at all times, and the boys were often forced to enter and exit venues through secret routes, back doors, and service areas just to avoid being crushed by the crowds. To many outsiders, One Direction's success seemed like a dream come true. They had wealth, fame, and millions of adoring fans worldwide. But behind the scenes, the reality was far from glamorous. The pressure was suffocating. The intense scrutiny, the grueling tour schedules, and the sheer scale of their celebrity status made it difficult for them to enjoy the things that most young adults take for granted: going out to eat, hanging out with friends, or even just walking down the street without being mobbed. A source who worked closely with the band during their peak years revealed just how draining this lifestyle was for them. This made them hate being in the band, the source said. It was actually traumatic at times. They were constantly being told where to go, what to say, how to behave, and they had no real control over their own lives. It was exhausting. For Zayn, the Sydney incident was just one of many moments that contributed to his growing desire to step away from the limelight. Over the following months, the pressures of fame continued to weigh heavily on him. He had always been one of the quieter members of the group, often preferring to stay out of the spotlight whenever possible. While his bandmates embraced certain aspects of their celebrity status, Zayn struggled with the relentless attention, the lack of privacy, and the expectation to constantly perform. By early 2015, Zayn had reached his breaking point. In March of that year, while the band was in the middle of yet another world tour, he made the shocking decision to leave One Direction. His departure sent shockwaves through the fandom and the music industry alike. In his official statement, he cited stress and the desire to be a normal 22-year-old as his reasons for quitting. Fans were heartbroken, and speculation ran wild about the real reasons behind his exit. Some believed he was struggling with the pressures of fame, while others suspected there were deeper conflicts within the band. In the years following his departure, Zayn would open up about his struggles, revealing that he had long battled anxiety and found the intense scrutiny unbearable. His decision to leave One Direction marked the beginning of a new chapter in his life, one where he could finally regain a sense of agency and control. While his solo career allowed him to continue making music on his own terms, he remained largely reclusive, rarely making public appearances and often retreating from the industry spotlight. Meanwhile, his former bandmates also faced their own battles with the pressures of fame. Although One Direction continued as a four-piece for a while after Zayn's departure, the group eventually went on hiatus in 2016. Harry, Neil, Lewis, and Liam each pursued solo careers, carving out their own identities beyond the band. In the years since, they have all spoken candidly about the darker side of their time in One Direction. Liam Payne in particular has revealed that the experience took a severe toll on his mental health. In a candid interview, he admitted that the constant touring and pressure led him to struggle with addiction and self-destructive behaviors. Similarly, Lewis Tomlinson has spoken about how challenging it was to transition from the high-intensity environment of the band to life as a solo artist. Harry Styles, who has arguably had the most commercially successful solo career, has also reflected on the difficulties of growing up in the public eye. While he appears to have embraced his fame more than some of his former bandmates, he has acknowledged that the early days of One Direction were overwhelming and often chaotic. Despite the challenges they faced, the members of One Direction remain grateful for the experience and the opportunities it brought them. They have all spoken about their appreciation for the fans who supported them throughout their journey. However, they have also made it clear that the extreme nature of their fame came at a price. Zayn, now 32, has largely distanced himself from the world of mainstream pop music. While he continues to release music sporadically, he has chosen a quieter life away from the constant glare of the spotlight. He has focused on personal projects, fatherhood, and maintaining a sense of normalcy that he never had during his years in One Direction. His decision to leave the band back in 2015 was a bold one that shocked the world at the time. But in hindsight, it was a necessary step for him to prioritize his mental health and well-being. His story serves as a reminder of the immense pressures that come with fame and the importance of setting boundaries, even when the world expects you to keep going. For many fans, One Direction will always hold a special place in their hearts. The band's legacy continues to live on through their music and the impact they had on a generation. But behind the catchy songs and sold-out stadiums was a reality that few truly understood, a reality that, for Zayn Malik, became too much to bear. As he once said in an interview, "It wasn't really about leaving the band. It was about finally doing what I needed to do for myself."